All right, what's up, everybody? No webcam here. It's a little too late in my place. Uh, Kids are sleeping here. I don't want to turn on a bunch of lights. Um, I'm chilling later on at night, but trying to figure out a way to do this video. Try to get my thoughts across about market context. Okay, so it's a word that I hate. Um, I hate it almost as much as order flow, the word order flow, the term order flow, because I feel like it's been like used and abused because most people don't understand it. Um, Again, I'm an order flow trader. That's all I do. If you want further explanations about order flow, feel free to look in my videos there. There's a video called What is Order Flow, where I basically just kind of simplify it, right? And just basically tell you, hey man, it ain't a bunch of indicators, this, that. It's very, very simple what order flow is. It's time and sales. It's just how you look at time and sales, right? It's the flow of the orders, literally the tape. Okay. But I want to touch on another topic that is literally probably the most important part of my own trading and my own approach every day in its market context. Okay. Market context and trade planning. If you've been getting something from these videos, hopefully you've been understanding how important planning is. You know that I've shown you every day on these trade recap videos my plan from the night before and how those levels played out during the intraday action. So when I go to bed or when that bell rings at the end of the cash session, I already know exactly what levels I need to play off tomorrow morning based on the order flow and what has transpired. If you're not doing this type of work, you're lost already. You have to plan. Planning is 90% of trading, right? I think. I plan religiously. I do a week ahead plan. I do a weekly plan every Sunday. I send out to my team um, in our room, and I send a daily plan every single night for NQ and yes, sometimes GC or CL if we're actively trading it, but main focus is on the two indexes um, and intraday trade plans and levels if context changes throughout the day because context does change during the day. Like one thing could happen and oh my God, everything's upside down, right? So let's talk a little bit about market context, okay, and what it means to me. Okay, market context goes for me, it's right beside trade planning. What is it? For me, it is what is the bull case tomorrow? What is the bear case tomorrow? What are the level? What is the level that the bulls need to hold? And if that level holds, what does that mean where we will rotate up to? And what level do the bears need to defend to rotate back down to where the bullish level is? And also the level that the bears need to take out to gain acceptance to a lower level, right? And it's all planned out, right? It's all done by the end of the cash session. And you will find that most likely unless there's an agenda at hand, Globex will just trade in between those levels unless they're really needing to move the market up or down, and then they'll do it during the Globex session. What else can I add to that? So, okay, bullish thesis. Um, that is pretty much it, right? You should be able at the end of the day to look at your charts, your order flow charts, right? For me, it's my order flow charts or however you want to do it. And you should know exactly where the bid is, where the offer is, who's in control, and what the positions look like, where the stops, who needs to do what, right? Who needs to defend where, who needs to get it over by a certain period of time. That is context, right? To me, right? And that goes hand in hand with trade planning, right? You have to know the pivotal inflection levels of the market. It's very, very, very important to understand. So if you're just coming in the morning, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna, play the chart, you know, okay, that can work for you, I guess, right? But like, you really want to dig into this shit and learn, right? You really want to understand what the market's doing, right? Because once you start to understand main levels, and how the market really moves, and the order flow and the position building and like who's about to get screwed. You can see it coming 2, 3 days away. You understand everything that's going on, man. And it's really, really important. So that's what leads to basically these levels. And you can see if you go back to last week, even on NQ here, these levels have stayed on my chart, right? We come back, we revisit it, we close below them, we close above them, they act as longs, we close below them, they act as shorts. 84 all last week, 562, right? 562 up here, right? These are all levels I laid out last week before they even traded, right? And look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. 406. Why did I have 406 as a target this week, right? From 562, right? How did I know today that under 84 we would sell down to 406? It's because of context, right? And how the market likes to move. Okay. That is what context means to me. So other people may do it differently. Some people may use a market profile, TPOs, time price opportunities, the charts that you see with the A, B, C period, D period. Some people use that as market structured value, right? They look at the market judging on value, right? Fair price over trading outside of value or inside of value, right? There's lots of structural stuff that you can kind of take away from that. I used to use it a lot. Now I don't look at it anymore because I kind of, for the most part, I understand the fractal nature of markets and how they move. Some people use volume profile. Volume profile is kind of cool, but to me, it doesn't tell you very much info at all. I like to look at the numbers in each session because it tells you a story. It tells you the order flow, distribution, accumulation, sell imbalances, inability to print, and it's always telling a story as the day goes on what's going on. So at the end of the day, you can look at this chart and you can look at the story that the market gave you. Okay. That when the market closed, you're like, I know exactly what happened. Okay. I understand exactly what happened. Now I know what the bull case is and the bear case is. So that's what you have to get to. If you're actively trading futures markets like NQ, ES, GC, CL, they all have a story. They all have a bullish agenda for the day and a bearish agenda in the day. Certain levels that need to close above or below to trigger next levels above or next levels below. They all have levels that both sides need to defend, right? And when both sides kind of defend those levels, this is where you get a market that stays in balance. Okay. So, the days where we just rotate balance high to balance low, and we just kind of ping pong and, structure traders just fade balance on both ends. Those are balance days when both sides of the auction couldn't get their job done to advance the market in their favor. Okay. That's context. That's understanding what's going on in the market. Okay. So I'm going to try this little thing right here. That's like a little primer. This video won't be too long, but so far I'm hoping that you're finding some really kind of good information. And this is how I approach the market every day, right? Like I look at this, right? And then what do? I'll go look at my my daily and my 4-hour order flow chart, and I can see exactly what's going on, right? Right? It's very, very obvious. I just studied the position building, who's trapped where, where the real supply is, where the real demand is, where the bids and offers are, supply and demand, where they really sit, right? Because if you just look at like a daily candle, you don't see anything, right? You just look at a 4-hour candle, you don't see anything. But all these numbers tell a story and how they transacted, right? Right. And all these numbers up here mean something, right? And in relation to how they transacted, right? I can tell you right now, there's a big trap being set here, right? Like just looking at the ES right here, it's like, ooh, buddy, this could get nasty for bears tomorrow, right? It's very, very obvious. A lot of people short here under 50. We're already trading above 50. We hit my weekly low target almost of 35 here today. Got bought up. Everybody's short here overnight, and I can just see the short trap being laid. So it may not look like much, but once you study what's going on, it becomes very, very clear as to what could happen tomorrow, right? So this is stuff I review with my team all the time. So if you want to come learn this stuff, click the link in the description. Come and learn, man. Doesn't matter if you're a 5-minute trader, 10-minute trader, 30-minute trader like me, daily, swing trader. I can teach you a lot of stuff about position building, whether it's on a very small time frame or not. Okay. So let's bring this up here and see if I can do this. Hopefully this works. Document. See if this works. Let's go. Okay, here we go. Share this. Hopefully this is on the screen share. Okay. So I did this. Hopefully this is showing up on the video. If not, I'll have to try to re-record this. But let's talk about this. Okay, Sean the News market context. What do I do every morning? Right. So at the end of the day, right? End of the day, what do? I want to check. I always check daily order flow positioning, right? I do this on the daily and basically 4-hour chart, right? I really dig into the positioning, right? Right. 2, I must know where, oops, daily 4-hour chart, daily 4-hour. 2, always know where the real bid and offer is from the closed cash session. Okay. I study the daily order flow and I take a very deep look into where's the bid, where's the offer. Okay. And that is something that we dissect in the room pretty much religiously all the time, right? We put a heavy focus on that a lot. It's part of my daily prep. Okay. So I always know where the real bid and offer is from the closed cash session. So once I know where the bulk of the volume has been transacted, where the bid is and the offer is, this lays out my pretty much kind of my defense levels. Okay. Okay. These are my defense levels. Bears need to hold this. Bulls need to get this. Right. Right. Above or below is previous order flow levels that have not been invalidated. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, so if the bulls defend and they get above the bearish defense level, for me, I know if we start bidding and we close an auction to me is 30 minutes. If we close an auction over that, I know it's going to that next order flow level above because that's how markets move, right? It always does. You guys have seen it on my charts here so far. They're like magnets, right? Once you know what's going on. Below, same deal. If we close above the bullish bid, we're going to see the offer move down and we start selling that bullish defense level. We're going to drop and we're going to go to the next level. That's why I knew if we failed 21,484 today, we could trade 406.25 today in the NQ session. And that's exactly what happened. And I laid out that idea 12 hours before the market even opened. Okay. So again, doing your prep work and understanding those levels, right? Above and below, right? So have they been invalidated? What does that mean? Well, have we taken them out? Basically accepted sessions above or below them, right? Taking them out because then they'll usually just flip, right? So I look at that. Okay, so that's the work that's been done on the cash session, right? So now I move to the overnight session, right? So now I want to know where the overnight bid and offer is. Okay. I want to know where the overnight bid is and where the overnight offer is. If we're just moving sideways 10 points, I don't put a lot of focus on the overnight session, right? But if we got some range, usually starting at about 3 a.m. when London opens up there, when UK opens up, we get a bit more volume, we get a little bit more order flow in, right? So if it's a session to be aware of, I'll take notes, right? I want to know where the overnight bid and offer is. Why? Why? I'll give you a little hint, right? Because at the open, the market wants to clean up inventory. Okay. If the market is long overnight, the market will try to rotate down and clean up the stops, right? Which brings me to my next point. Where are the stops? Where are the stops on the overnight session and the cash session, right? That usually goes hand in hand with the bullish defense level and especially in the overnight session, this is something I mainly pay attention to in the first 30 minutes, right? There is something that the market usually does that we go over a lot of times. And during the 9 o'clock session before the open starts, um, you will hear me a lot of times on the microphone say, there's been a bid put in, there's been an offer put in. They will put that bid in 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes before the open. And literally that open session comes down, ticks that bid, and we just go off. Or same with the offer, right? It doesn't happen so much with the offer, it happens a lot with the bid. And this is something that I train guys to look for, right? But where are the stops? I want to know where the stops are, right? Can we, if we open, can we, if I know where those stops are and we come down to it, can we clean up inventory? If we come down to those stops in the overnight session and we can't wash those stops, that's a weak selling session to start, and this market's going to go up, right? The Globex session is the weakest session, right? It's a bunch of really weak chart traders, right? Just moving average chart pattern. It's a terrible session. I really don't like it. 3 o'clock it gets a little bit better, but the rest of it I just cannot stand. Um, so I always look where the stops. Same with up. Like if we pop up and we try to take out the overnight stops, if we've been selling down here coming into the open, we can't run those stops and we just see massive selling imbalances into the stops. That means the overnight volume is able to protect those positions and the market's going to sell down. It just tells you there's weakness in the bid. Okay. And then we start the rotation to order flow levels. Okay. So I want to know exactly where all of this is, right? This is very important when we look at the overnight session, if it's notable to look at. Like I said, if it's just a sideways session of BS, I don't worry about it. Are we still in cash session range? This is something that like more, more like TPO and value traders look at, right? Like, are we trading within yesterday's value? I don't look at value anymore. I've done my TPO days, right? I don't really look at it anymore, but this is what guys will look at. Are we in cash session range? I like to ask myself that too. Like, are we just trading in yesterday's range? The most likely what will happen is we'll probably go down to yesterday's lows. Everybody bids previous session's lows or previous session's highs, and we just kind of stay trading in that range until we can really accept over those higher or lower order flow pivots, right? Then the last session's pivots are most likely um, still in play until they're invalidated. What does invalidated mean? Can we close sessions above or below them and keep them bid or offered? Okay. Let me just read this here. It's a lot of info. It may seem like a lot, but this work to me is done in like 10 minutes, right? Because I'm taking those notes during the cash session, right? Like I know tonight we hold 406.25, we're going to trade up to 84. Bulk of the stops are over 90, right? If we trade over 90, we're going to rip back up towards 62 tomorrow on CPI, right? If we break 406, we're most likely going to go down towards 367, but it puts us at a deeper sell point that I laid out last night down to around we could trade down to 250 tomorrow if the market really wants to let it go. But there's some lower levels two levels that have interest to me. So we'll follow that up tomorrow and kind of see what happens. I don't trade news, right? I just observe it and then use that information here to talk to my team at 9 a.m. What else? Cash session range, where are the stops, overnight bid and offer, intraday cash session information. That's pretty much the bulk of what I do to come up with my levels, right? And just like, I shouldn't say just levels, context, right? Come up with context. This is my trade plan. This is basically my step 2 trade planning. There's a whole other side to my trading that I just won't talk about anymore. You guys hear me mention it. I'm a fractal kind of market trader. I'm not going to dig deep into that stuff on these videos or talk about it publicly here anymore. I'm very much use order flow to confirm levels. And you can see in the order flow, once it trades, it becomes very obvious if a level is valid. So if you're observing the order flow, just in general, these levels should like literally pop out at you, right? They really should. But that is basically it, guys, for market context for me. Okay, I do this every day. This is part of my trade planning. And for me, market context is basically a mirror of trade planning. It's very, very, very important, right? So some people may look at this and be like, "Oh, you make it way too confusing for yourself, and keep it simple." Absolutely fucking not. I'm not going to keep it simple. This is simple. This is what you should be doing every day as a professional trader. If you're trying to get to that level, it's really digesting the market and trying to understand what it's doing, right? It's telling you a story. How are you interpreting that story, right? What are the steps you're taking to understand what the market is trying to show you? Okay. So, hey, man, it works. I mean, you can see the level uh, of the you can see the accuracy, right? Even just today, right? Just going back from today, 562. Look, 1, 2 sessions. Look at this session. Could barely close just underneath of what happened. The very next session dumped right off the level, right? What happened after we closed 84? Couldn't close it. Couldn't close it. Couldn't close it. Couldn't close it. Look at this. Topped it. Couldn't close it. This is order flow. This is market context, right? I knew if we couldn't trade 84, we would most likely rotate down to 406. What happened when we trade 406? We got it to the tick, sold it hard. We went down to our 367 level, and then look at this. They closed it right back over 406, and it's been holding in the overnight session here so far. So what I'm saying is I encourage you guys to learn market context for your own trading. Just try to understand the story that the market is trying to tell you, right? It's not complex, but it's work that we should all be putting in before we even start our day, right? It should be done the day before. So the next morning, you're just coming in and looking at a few things and be like, do I need to change my plan? Nope. Everything's still valid, right? Or if there's new information, cool, we can make some quick adjustments. And it's usually a very, very quick process in the morning. So process, boys. All right. So that is my video on market context. I don't know if this helps anybody. If you do like what I'm doing here, all I ask is that you give a thumbs up, maybe a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll keep these cool videos coming, man. I like to do things that are different than everybody, right? As far as like trading, you see style of trading is very, very different. Um, and if you want to come learn, links in the description, man. I'll teach you how these numbers flip and I'll show you how to read this tape. Right? It's a lot of fun once you begin to understand it. So I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm gonna go to bed here and get ready for CPI here. So see you guys first in the morning, and that is market context from my end. All right. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.